And also, fairly recently, I made a TikTok asking Chewon to like do this like funny challenge that was going on, and she recreated it. And then I was kind of
Oh my
gaslighting myself,
gosh.
like I like maybe she saw it, maybe she didn't. And then she posted it on her Instagram, and then Yunjin posted it on her Instagram, and I was like, oh my god, it was the craziest thing in the world. And
You made
as
it.
amazing as that is as like a fan.
Hi, I'm Chris Molly, and this is Pod on the Verse, a fan-first podcast here to explore everything related to the world of K-pop. Episode by episode, we'll dive deep into the latest Weverse content, get to know other fans, and stay up to date with what's going on in the K-pop world. So, grab your favorite headphones, get comfortable, and get ready to dive into the pod with us. For this week's episode, you'd say we could have a very hot topic. I have a very special guest with me. Please let everybody know who you are.
Hi everyone, I'm Henry. Some of you might know me as Hennas332 from TikTok. And I am like a kind of content creator currently living in Seoul, South Korea.
Ooh, wow. Hailing from very, very far away.
Yeah.
Well, Henry, I am so happy to have you on the show today. I know that this topic is very near and dear to your heart. But before we get into how much we both love the Sserafim, let's talk about how did you even find K-pop? Like, how did it first enter your life?
I remember like it was yesterday actually. It was like the middle of COVID, and I literally was listening to Lady Gaga's Chromatica album, and Blackpink were on there. I was like, oh, I think I've heard of them before. And then I literally went downstairs and the Ice Cream music video was playing. So I was like, I feel like this is a sign. And from like that day onwards, it was just like, okay, what can I know about Blackpink? Okay, I know BTS are famous. Oh, Twice is there. And then it literally just like snowballed. I had all the time in the world when it was COVID. So I was literally just watching every music video possible, kind of like having like a crash course into K-pop. Yeah, and so like I honestly, compared to a lot of my friends, I'd say I'm like more of like a baby in comparison. Some of them have been here for a while, but I would say about 2020 is when I first started discovering things with K-pop. And yeah, I started posting TikToks about it, I think in 2021. And then I think that also helped my investment a little bit. I kind of got some more like motivation to like stay on top of it, if you know what I mean.
I love that because, like you said, it felt like a sign because you were already listening to something that you love, which, you know, Lady Gaga, and then you see like, oh, there's a feature here. Interesting. And then you see Ice Cream, which is also another like Western and K-pop collaboration.
Yeah, right.
And then it just has the snowball effects into where you are now.
This is why I feel like sometimes when I see the Western collabs, I get a little bit skeptical, but then I have to remember that was me, you know, it helped me get into it. So, you know.
Exactly, you know, and sometimes they can really surprise you. I say this because I remember years ago when I was first discovering K-pop. I'm a bit of a very old K-pop fan,
A veteran. Okay,
but
yeah.
not as much of a veteran because I didn't come in first generation. I was at the tail end of second. But I remember when I saw that Super Junior did a collaboration with Leslie Grace, who is a Dominican American singer, and the song was in three languages, in Spanish, Korean, and English. And me being like of Dominican descent, I was like, excuse me, K-pop is entering like all of my worlds together. And I was pleasantly surprised because it was a great collaboration. But I totally understand, you know, you never know what to expect with a collaboration, especially because the artist could either go very, very well together, or it could just be a completely new sound that you never considered for them before.
Sure, yeah, of course. But to be honest, I think some of the Western collabs have been pretty good, but I will say the like Latin American and the Spanish collaborations that I've heard from K-pop, they do good every time. So we can have some more of that.
Yes, more of that, please. So then, I love the way you came into K-pop. How does Le Sserafim enter your orbit?
You know what? This is one of my proudest moments actually because, all my friends tease me. I'm like a huge Twice fan, and they all tell me, like, oh, I was there when they debuted, and I wasn't. However, I was there in the very beginning with the Seraphim because I I remember when I just come off the back of watching, I think it was called Girls Planet 999, the Kepler
Mm.
survival show. And I was like, I need another survival show to watch. So I watched Produced 48, and that had some of the Seraphim girls on it because they came from Eyes One. And so I remember falling in love with Chewon and Sakura and Yunjin watching the show and then watching all of like Eyes One stuff. So then when I moved to Korea, I got the notification that Source Music was releasing a new group, and there was rumors on Twitter that Chewon was going to be in it. So I was like, I'm locked in. I'm locked into this. And they started revealing the members one by one. I think the first one was Sakura. So I was like, oh my God. I was getting the like notifications on Weverse and checking them out. And then Chaewon was announced. And then Yunjin was announced, which I literally felt, because it was like a rumor, but I was so happy because I was rooting for her so much on Produce 48, even though I watched it after it aired, like loads of time after. But to like see the people that I love being put in a group before there's even any music out, I was like, this is what it feels like to have that kind of like pre-debut pride that some K-pop fans have. So I was super, super excited to see what they were going to do. And I was watching the live of their debut showcase. I did apply to go, I didn't get in, but I was watching the live on my computer. And it was like a one of those like life experiences that I want everyone to experience, being there for a group like before debut and like, like following through with everything because like even from that moment I've stayed with them consistently the whole time.
Wow. I mean, one, I think I completely agree with you. I think whenever you enter K-pop, you're happy to see a group like one that's already been put together. They already have a couple of comebacks out, but you always like wonder what's it like to follow them from day one or from day zero, honestly, from when pre-debut days. So you already being a fan of the survival shows, seeing these girls get put together like the Avengers for you, like what was it
That's
like when
literally
they
what it was. The Seraphim
right?
Assemble.
So okay, they get together and finally now they're a full group and they make their debut. What is like you as a day one, day zero, fear not. How are you feeling finally seeing it all come together?
Well, it's one thing like loving the members of a group when they're put together or they've been in a group for a long time, but it's another thing to enjoy the music. And I remember when it dropped, I was like, okay, please let it be good music. Like, I just really hope it's good music because Hybe hadn't really had like a girl group at that point. So this was kind of the first big one, and I was wondering like what it was going to sound like. And I
Right.
remember being on my TikTok live saying, oh, I'm just gonna like listen to the whole album, like listen with me. And every single song was a bop. I loved every single song. And I think that was the solidifying moment where I love these girls, I love this concept, and I love the music. So clearly this is meant to be, Fearless for me is still like in my top maybe three Les Seraphim songs, which I feel like a lot of people shun it a
Wow.
little bit because it was so like old and in the beginning, but like that has stayed with me forever. I just loved how clean that concept was, and everything about that album, the I'm Fearless album, was just honestly 10 out of 10 perfect for me. And that era was like just so crazy to be watching them like grow from like debut to like finishing their first comeback. So I think that always has a special place in my heart, which is why I guess I resonate with Fearless so much as a song.
Yeah, no. And I think it's such a powerful song to even have as part of your debut because, they have these very young girls being like a first girl group for this company in a while. And you want to make sure you stand out in a way that shows the public, like, here's who we are, but also not show them everything at once because all of the members are individually very talented and you can see them as a group, but it kind of gives you that first taste of like what they're preparing to do as a group.
Yeah, right. They all have like such different sides to them that like I was really excited to see like Kazuha's like ballet skills come into play and Yunjin using her voice in different ways and like her different talents of music. So I was just like really invested. I think it was a great debut because it was really, like I said, clean is the word I always use for that era. And I feel like that was a great canvas to like put up to the fans. And then everything after that has just been painting it with like all these wonderful concepts and colors. So you see them really flourish from that like first kind of album and all those concepts they did in the beginning. So personally, I think it was like the perfect debut, personally.
He's like, as far as debuts go, they're pretty high up there.
Pretty good, yeah.
Not biased at all.
No, not at all, not at all.
Okay, well then, speaking of, Le Sserafim eras, you have the clean concept. They've had so many different comebacks. They've Fearless, Anti-Fragile, Unforgiven, Easy, Perfect Night, Hot. I know it's hard to pick, but of all of these concepts that they've already, that they've already displayed, which ones are your favorites, or which ones, I guess, other than Fearless, are just so close to your heart?
Damn, this is a hard question. Okay. You know what? It's not a hard question, actually. I'm gonna go ahead and say Anti-Fragile was a moment in history that needs to go down in the books. I think hearing the teasers even, like before like looking at the concept photos, the teasers came on, and I was listening to it and it almost, correct me if I'm wrong, had this like reggaeton kind of vibe to it. And I was like, oh, is this where we're going with it? And then the song dropped, the music video dropped, and I was like in love. I thought everything about it was so cool because Fearless was really black, white, and gray. And I loved that. But Anti-Fragile was so colorful. It had so many different things in it. It didn't feel like it was like crammed into one either. Also, blonde Yunjin coming out and like the underblonde for Chewon. I was living. I was very much enjoying that. And the choreography was incredible too. And that was a moment where I saw like I fell in love with them and then everyone else was falling in love with them. That was kind of their, what do people call it now? That was their espresso, I guess you could say.
That was their espresso.
Yeah, like everyone was singing Anti-Fragile, so I was loving that. And then I would also say, oh, I loved Crazy.
Oh,
The whole album for me was amazing, but especially the title track Crazy was just everything I love about K-pop. It was like, it had this like fun element to it. It had this really like, just like girly, fun, cool vibe. The music video was crazy, no pun intended. Like I didn't know what was going on, but I was like still obsessed with it. And everything from like having the House of Juicy Couture in it, and all of these like Vogue elements. And for me, it was like, I felt like it was made for me. Not to be dramatic or anything. Sorry guys if you think it was made for you, it was made for me. But that was probably my other moment where I was like, oh, this is definitely the right like group for me. I was meant to stand this group.
I think it's beautiful to hear you like speak about them like this, because I know that, so many people, they say that whenever a new group debuts, like what else could they do that other people haven't done before? But I think that's what I really like about Le Sserafim is every single comeback, they're showing you something that you're like, wait, I didn't know you could do that, or how come I haven't heard something like this before? I felt that especially with Crazy the album and when the music video came out, I was just shocked at the dancing, the influences, because all of it was stuff that it felt so intentional to show them as being powerful, but so powerful and fun.
Yeah, right. Bring fun K-pop back. Oh my God, bring it back.
Sometimes you just need a really fun line, like all the girls are girling. Like,
yeah, right. Like, oh, I feel like sometimes we get so caught up in these like meaningful poetic lyrics. What about if we just said the girls are girling? Huh?
The girls are girling. And I also just think it's, speaking a bit more than about them, given the ups and downs that they've had, I really feel like that was such a good comeback for them to really bring it back to what they really love about music, which is how it makes them feel, how it makes other people feel, making people feel understood, seen, happy, instead of, focusing on the negatives of, people maybe criticizing or focusing on, maybe that they're not doing enough. And then you get something like Crazy and you're like, my gosh, like you guys are it. Like everything that you guys are doing is for something and for somebody, and your fans will continue to support you because of it.
Yeah, it really felt like they came back from everything that was going on and just said, you know what, we're going to give the fans what they want, regardless of what anyone else is saying, and they're going to love it. And you know what happened? Everyone else loved it. It felt like everyone else was like hopping onto that. So personally, I think that's another reason why Crazy for me was an era that like I'm never going to forget. It was like a very happy time for me because I felt like the girls kind of just like let their inhibitions go. And like I said, had fun with it, had this like cool ass song they knew was going to do good. And it really did.
I think when you look at the different comebacks that they've had and considering like their whole concept, because their whole concept is like, we are fearless, we're anti-fragile, like we stand. But I think it's so great when every now and then you get these other bits of them where, for example, like Easy. So Easy, they're like, we make it look easy, but clearly when you see how much effort they put into it, even when you see that the versatility they have, this clearly is not something very easy to do. They've all trained so hard and worked so hard for this. And to still feel like they want to show more, I just feel like I'm always in awe of their resilience and how they're always putting it in their music.
Like when they released some of the documentaries about how they first became a group and how they were put together, like you really got to see like the raw emotions from like all their training, because, as much as it's great to watch them, perform and think that they're like these amazing, perfect dancers and performers, like a lot of hard work goes into this, and it's really, really difficult. And I'm really glad that they showed that to people. Like this takes a lot of work to get here. And I know that like you said, their concept is being these really great, fearless performers, and still embracing all of the things that come with that. But they also really do show themselves as these like these people with imperfections. Like their song Impurities from their second album, I thought that was really great. Like them saying like, we're gonna show you stuff that like maybe isn't perfect about me, and all these like concepts that fans circulate about them being these like fallen angels, that angels are these perfect beings, but like on earth and where we stand, like they're just normal human beings, and like we all have these things about us. So I think that in itself is a huge strength that the girls hone in on and they explore when they put their music out there. And like Easy, for instance, was a really good example of that too.
I think it was a project that really showed that, the point of this is to make it look easy, but I look at the way that we're dancing, hear the way that we're singing our hearts out. This is something that, because we care in it so much, we care about it so much, we're putting our all into making this look easy. And it does give you a new appreciation for the group and how much they have worked to rise together and to consistently try new dances, new looks, new sounds, things that I feel like sometimes groups wait until they're a bit more like centered in their career a couple of years later. But for them, they're trying this experimental stuff pretty early.
Totally. And they've succeeded in whatever they wanted to do right now. Like look at where they are right now. It's like, it's incredible, like I said, to see, me fall in love with them and then the rest of the world fall in love with them, showing all of these things and like kind of bearing all, so that's why I love Sserafim so much.
Speaking about like global, because since you've seen them grow from like pre-debut to who they are now, which are like these global superstars, they've taken like world stages everywhere. You as a fan who have seen them really grow and go through the struggles that they have, like why do you think they resonate so much to a global crowd?
This sounds a little bit strange, but a lot of the times when I listen to K-pop, it has a really like similar sound that kind of like goes through. Of course, they're different genres, but I feel like
Yeah.
the setup and like the structure of the songs have this really like similarities between them. I
Hmm.
feel like Le Sserafim's music takes a lot of influence from like old like hip hop music, old pop music that was like really popular in the West, maybe in like the 2000s. So I think
Hmm.
it's that like nostalgic vibe that they give off sometimes that like a lot of people are really invested in. Also, this might sound contradicting, but I feel like they're
Okay.
really, really great at keeping up with the trends. And I know this sounds crazy,
Mm.
but when they released Easy, I was like, oh, this is really interesting that they would kind of dip their toe in this style. But it made a lot of sense to me
Mm.
because it kind of felt like similar to that like e-music vibe, that like, SoundCloud vibe that a lot of people were like rocking with at that time. And then when
Yeah.
Crazy came out, and I was like, you know what, this is giving like low-key kind of like Pink Pantheress vibes. And then she hopped on the
Ooh.
remix. I was like, oh, so we're listening. So I feel like they do this really great thing of looking at like the old successes of like pop music and hip hop music. And then they also look at, okay, what's going current right now, and meshing those things together to try all these different styles that like people really like versatility. It's something a
Yeah.
lot of people like, especially in the West. So I feel like also showing those different sides really helps them like get that audience. Also, this might sound like a really shallow point, but they're just
Okay.
like
Go for it.
gorgeous. They're just gorgeous
Oh, well,
women
yes.
doing gorgeous things, singing gorgeous songs. Who's not gonna like that?
Yeah, who's not gonna like that? And to your point, they've clearly at least made a name for themselves for being able to be so versatile. Like, there's nothing that they can't try. And you've mentioned that Pink Panther has hopped on a remix. I know for their the name of the song is very very long. It's like Eve Bluebeard.
East Side and
They
Bluebeard's Five.
Thank you. Thank you. I never get that one right because there's like 13 words in it.
Um,
But Demi Lovato was on a remix. I think Rina Sawayama was also on a remix.
Girl, everyone was on that remix. I'm surprised I wasn't on that remix.
And then even on Unforgiven, like Nile Rodgers on the guitar. So these girls clearly like have very wide, distinct taste for collaborators for different sounds that they try. And it always sounds really, really good.
Yeah, right. And they just also released the English version of Hot with Jade from Little Mix. And like that literally, because I was a huge Little Mixer back in the day, and Jade was my favorite member. And so to see them both come together, I was like, you know what? The Western collabs can stay. I like the Western collabs.
You're like a Venn diagram of Little Mix fans and Le Sserafim
Yeah,
fans.
uh, absolutely, absolutely.
So we've talked about just how powerful and strong these girls are together while also showing their vulnerabilities. Something I really wanted to ask you about was how it felt like for you when Yunjin like made her solo debut, kind of sort of, with
Ooh,
her
ooh.
single, the I Am Not Dull Idol. Um, like what was that like for you as a fear not to see her be so vulnerable?
I was just crying the whole time, like just tears down my face, like sobbing because not only was I surprised to see that she was doing like a solo because from being such a big company like Hybe or
Mm-hmm.
Source Music, I was surprised that they would let her so early on, let her do
Mm,
her songwriting, which I really wanted her to do. So I'm so glad they let her. And for also the song to be so just beautifully written and about something so like present in like the industry that people don't really talk about that much.
yeah.
I thought it was just like amazing that like she would be able to release something like that, and listening to the lyrics and the animation that she got to do for the music video too was beautiful. She kind of just put like everything into it, and I think seeing that happen, as someone I love so much, using all their talents to put something out into the world that they love too, like, of course I was gonna love it. When I listen to it, I cry a lot. And her other song, Love You Twice, is like one of my favorite songs. It's so beautiful. And I actually got to see her perform it live when I went to the first Weverse
Oh
con
my
in
gosh.
Korea. Yeah, she was performing as a soloist, and Le Sserafim were like a few rows behind me, like on the grass, so I didn't really know where to look the whole time. But she did so well, and I got to hear all those songs live, so I was so happy. But yeah, I'm really glad that the company gave her the chance to put some stuff out there, and the fans really resonated with it. So I think it was a really good choice.
I just love to hear you talk about it because, as an older K-pop fan, I think I often find it so exciting when one of the members can release like a single. But normally I'm used to the wait being a lot longer. Like the group has been together for years and years at that point, and then somebody does a solo project. So to see her do that within just a couple of years of the girl's debut,
Yeah.
and for it to be so emotional, so deep to her and close to her heart, I found it to be like, wow, like she really wants to connect with people at the most human level by showing that, like, I also go through these things, and actually, even though I love my job and I love what I do, these are the insecurities that I sometimes face. Here are the things that sometimes upset me, but you guys, are here, and I'm here for you.
I feel so lucky as like a Le Sserafim fan to be able to listen to those things, and be able to like take my pick on what I want to listen to. Maybe I want to listen to Yunjin sing by herself today, or sing with the group. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's beautiful. It really is.
And so, before we wrap up, I need to know, as a TikTok creator who you are always doing like different K-pop TikToks, of course, especially with La Sserafim, I have to know, like, how do you think TikTok as a platform really helps people to discover new sounds? Because that's where you are, that's where you're creating.
Yeah, honestly, the label TikTok creator is so crazy to me. I feel like it's not a real thing. However, I'm very like aware and very grateful of, the people that I can connect with. And, I think I'm still unsure as to like why people connect with my stuff, and, why I connect to other people's stuff. But all I know is that when I watch stuff on like my For You page, people are using sounds for like comical reasons, or like dancing, or just
Yeah.
like expressing their enjoyment for the music. I'll always watch it, and like listen and see if I like something. And sometimes I'll go and look at things for new groups. But I know that for myself, I love to like, express how much I love a group through like some like comical aspects, or I think that's something that like maybe the Western market is kind of missing out on, is that like promoting
Mm-mm.
music in a comical way can actually be really
Yes.
beneficial. I see the girls do that a lot when they post on TikTok. Like, yeah, a lot of the time during like promo era, they're very like, doing the dances and collaborations with other people. But then you always get the odd TikTok where they're being like so chronically online and funny. Like, I think it was the Dua Lipa levitating video with like Kazuha and Yunjin and the rest of the girls was so funny. I know when Yunjin is behind that camera, something funny's gonna happen. So I just love seeing those, because like it really is just like you get to see that they're just a bunch of girls who like want to have fun, and they're being funny with each other, and they have this like group sense of humor that everyone else will connect with in the end.
Oh, I love that. It's like platforms like TikTok where you create are places where they can just go to show a little bit more about who they are, like when they're off duty. Because even if they use it during promotions, I mean, making comical videos, using sounds, and as a fear not yourself, have you had any like special TikToks?
Yes, I indeed have. Um, well, actually, I want to thank Lazarafim, because two of like my most like viewed videos on my
Mm.
channel were Lazarafim sounds, and I wasn't really
Wow.
thinking about it when I did it, but I just I was just like putting it out there again because I love their music and I just wanted to use it, and it did really, really well. So I'm very grateful. And also, fairly recently, I made a TikTok asking Chewon to like do this like funny challenge that was going
Mm-hmm.
on, and she recreated it. And then I was kind
Oh
of
my
gaslighting myself,
gosh.
like I like maybe she saw it, maybe she didn't, and then she posted it on her Instagram, and then Yunjin posted it on her Instagram, and I was like, oh my god, it was the craziest thing in the world. And
You made
as
it.
amazing as that is as like a fan, and I feel like a successful fan, I guess. It also shows that the girls are like really locked into like watching the fans, hearing what the fans have to say, hopping on things that the fans want them to do. So as grateful as I am for all of that, I think it's also a really good like move for them to be doing those things. But
Yes.
yeah, I feel very, very successful.
Oh, yeah. I think you are one of the most successful Fear Nots. You have to be because that's such a flex that, my TikTok made it like, not just made it, like they recreated it and it made it to their pages. So I live forever. I live forever there.
That was insane. Yeah, that was honestly one of the best moments of last year, I would say.
Like, what a way to end this part of the segment is basically with how you became a Fear Not since day one and how you are currently living your life as one of the most famous Fear Nots in my
Girl,
opinion.
yeah. Wait, that is crazy to think about because I was loving them before they were even like out yet, and now
Hmm.
they said my name. That's crazy. Okay, you know what? Let me come back down to earth for a second. But yeah, it is crazy. I'm very happy.
Oh no, and I love it. And thank you so much for even sharing like, your story with Le Sserafim falling into, this fandom and how you've basically been along the ride and you're gonna stay here and you're here to stay. Like it's perm.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, you cannot take me anywhere. I'm going. Yeah.
Oh God, yes. And so with that, let's move on to the next segment, the Weverse wrap up. So this week on Weverse, there's always so much happening, but just a couple of things I want to highlight. First, there is a new Weverse update, Artist Calendar. Fans can now see upcoming events, releases, and performances of the selected artists, and they can find the update under the Notice tab. Like, I think this is
Ooh.
gonna come so in handy now.
Okay, yeah, I usually rely on my friends to tell me what's going on. So now they're going to be happy that I don't have to do that.
Exactly. I mean, you could still talk to your friends about it, but now at least you'll get
Sure.
notifications when there's a
Of course.
performance or someone's going on tour. And actually, speaking of the Seraphim, I know a couple of weeks ago they actually announced that they'd be going on tour, and I'm so excited because they're coming to Mexico.
You're going to Mexico?
They're going to Mexico, Mexico City. Yep,
Okay. Is this going to be your
exactly.
first time seeing them?
This will be my first time seeing them. This will be. I do not know what to expect. I know there's gonna be a ton of fans screaming, and I don't know how I'm gonna feel when I hear Easy or when I see Perfect Night live. Like,
I went to the Soul show and I'm just going to say, wait for the black outfits to come out. Okay, that's
okay,
it.
black outfits. Okay, black outfits. I have this in my head for when they come. Okay.
Yeah.
And then next up, some Cat's Eye news. Cat's Eye is going on tour. So run and grab your tickets if it's not already sold out.
Okay, I need to find me a ticket somewhere.
And speaking of Cat's Eye, two of the Cat's Eye members recently celebrated their birthdays, Mano on June 26th and Daniela's, which was on July 1st. So happy birthday to you both.
Yes, happy birthday to my queen.
And that's been the Weverse wrap up. Now onto the fan zone. For this week's fan zone, we have a cute, fun little short game. It's This or That Fear Not edition. So I'm going to
Ooh,
give you,
okay.
yeah, I'm going to give you two options and you either pick this or that, but it's the Seraphim themed. So let's start. This or that. Never listen to Anti-Fragile again versus never watch the Easy music video again.
Oh. You know what? This is easy peasy for me. Never watch the easy
Okay.
music video again. Because I can just play that in my mind. I know what it looks like. I memorize it frame by frame. I need to listen to Anti-Fragile because how am I gonna dance to it otherwise?
Okay, valid, valid. I actually would have chose never listen to Anti-Fragile again, only because I really love the Easy music video. Like it's so
It is good.
satisfying to see them walk in slow mo with the
Mhm.
door cracking open, the sun behind them, and everyone just
Uh-huh.
like slowly looking at. It's just so good. It's so good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, next. Only attend concerts from the back row forever, or meet Le Sserafim once for 5 seconds and no photos.
Be in the back row or meet them for 5 seconds,
But you can't take photos.
but I can't take photos. If I meet them for 5 seconds, can I still go to the shows after?
It doesn't say you can't. So,
Well, to me, it sounds like a free meet and greet. So, you know what? I'm good to meet them. I'm good to meet them for 5 seconds and not have any photos, as long as I can still go to the concerts. Because to be honest, I don't mind a back row concert. If I'm with my friends, we can vibe out.
I think I'd probably take meeting them for 5 seconds, even though I feel like, I might disassociate for those 5 seconds and, then somebody has to tell you what happened.
Right. Exactly. You black out.
But, I was there and it happened. So,
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
okay, next. Perfect photo card pulls every comeback, but you miss every concert, or attend every tour stop and get no pulls.
Oh, baby, I'm there for the concerts. Uh-uh. I don't I love my little PCs, but I don't need the photo card. I need to see them with my eyes. You know?
Agreed.
I need to see them
Agreed.
live. So love to
Agreed.
my photo cards. No, I'm going to the concert. I'm sorry.
Same. I'm just gonna go to every stop. It's okay. I can just take photos on my phone of like the
Sure.
screen.
Exactly. Yeah, right.
Okay. Next, like never able to get like special like limited edition merch, but you'll have front row tickets, or buy all of the merch every single drop and release, but you never get a ticket. I feel like I know your answer.
Do you? Because I'm gonna be honest. I I'm always poor, so I never actually buy any merch at the concerts because I'm like just don't have the money. So I'm taking the front row tickets. I'll make my own merch. It's fine, you know. I'll take the front row tickets.
I mean, as much as I love limited edition things, like, and I love wearing merch, as you can see, I probably would also take the front row tickets, even though I do love merch, and I love especially when there's like a limited release, like something that's only for a certain time, because then it feels special when you have it. But being front row is pretty special too, so I'd probably pick that.
You got to think like me. Seeing them is the limited edition,
You're
right?
so right. Okay.
Uh-huh.
I've been schooled by the teacher. Thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for playing that with me. That has been the Fan Zone. So, Henry, thank you so, so much for your time today, for sharing your story as a day one, day zero. Fear not. Let everybody know where they can find you.
You can find me on TikTok and Instagram at Hennas332. And you can also find me on YouTube with my group's channel. It is Soul Mates. We do K-pop videos, reaction videos, living in Seoul, daily vlogs, things like that.
Ooh, I love it. I love it. As always, you can follow the QR code to catch up with everything related to Pod in the Verse and also Todo en el Verso, our Spanish version of the podcast. También hay una versión en español que se llama Todo en el Verso. Check that out if you're interested. And thank you again so much, Henry. Thank you to everybody who was watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye!